33, which appears in my name, and will also speak to related and other amendments in this group. Now, Amendment 33 has a very simple aim. It is to ban filters on cigarettes. And it really has to be started by saying this is health washing. Filters on cigarettes have no health benefits. And they were developed by the tobacco industry in the 1960s as a response to growing public concern over the link between smoking and lung cancer. There was exposed an internal note from the tobacco manufacturer Philip Morris stating they are, quote, an effective advertising gimmick, close quote. They were deliberately developed to turn from white to brown to increase the perception that they were filtering the cigarette smoke. In reality, smokers simply inhale more deeply to draw more smoke through the cigarette butt and even further into their lungs. The more recent trend of white filter tips compared to the older orange ones reinforces this message with consumers. Young people in particular, the evidence shows, perceive cigarette packs that have references to filters as containing cigarettes significantly less harmful than packs without those references. Yet this is still not widely known. We look at the communications power of these merchants of death versus the health messages, and of course the merchants of death have a lot more money to put into the messages they're putting out. Action on smoking and health, and I want to acknowledge the support they've given me in bringing forward this amendment, and noble lords who've received their briefing may well have noted that they strongly back this amendment. Only 1 in 4 adults realises that filters don't protect smokers. So still 75% of people think that filter, because it's allowed to be there and it's sending that message of health, then there must be some health benefit, surely, else why would the government allow it? So that's my Amendment 33. Now I note there's here an Amendment 34 in the name of the Noble Earl Russell, the Noble Ladies Baroness Grey-Thompson and Walmsley. And this is calling for a ban on cigarette filters that contain plastic. And I fully understand why the Noble Lords and Ladies would feel like this would seem to be a good idea. Obviously, we're all concerned about plastic pollution, and there has been, as I noted at second reading, a very well-funded, very loud campaign to push in that direction. Indeed, I doubt I'm the only Noble Lord who got a postcard in the mail last week saying what a good idea it was to get rid of plastic filters. As I said in committee, as I said in second reading, it's not entirely sure where the money's coming from or where that campaign's coming from. But of course we know that Action on Smoking and Health is a very powerful campaign group with the good and the health of the public at heart. But to come even on to the environmental point in comparing Amendments 33 and 34, biodegradable, it's such a magic, nice, green-sounding word. That's biodegradable in, depending on the conditions, somewhere between 2 and 14 years. This is still litter. Indeed, we can well imagine that people, having received the message that the filters in their cigarette packet are biodegradable, might be more inclined to litter those cigarette butts. But they're going to be out there still providing a threat to the environment, still providing on our streets that nasty message, the nasty picture we all see with all of that litter, because of course cigarette butts are 66% of all littered items in the UK. Now, if we didn't have the filters and they would still perhaps be litter, but they would be much more biodegradable. Now, this is an amendment that was brought forward in the other place by the Honourable Jim Dixon, a Labor MP, who of course used the unforgettable phrase that cigarette filters are the deadliest fraud in the history of human civilization. It's a big claim, but I think you could probably stand it up. But in response to that, the government then said, oh, but we're trying to stop everybody smoking anyway, so that's going to deal with it eventually. Well, I'm afraid that's just not an adequate response for this human health and environmental health impact. And I draw reference to an article in the last week in The Economist, a really interesting article about the situation in America, where the operating margin on a cigarette sold in America has gone from 50 to 60%. And the cigarette and cigar makers are expected to make $22 billion of operating profit next year. And the Economist analysis, which I think makes a lot of sense, says that basically lots of people who might previously have smoked have now given up or happily have not started as a result. The people who are left smoking, very sadly, are the people who suffer from very serious addiction, who find it very hard to give up. And they're not very price elastic, so the price just keeps going up. So I'm afraid whilst we might all hope, as the government's saying, that we're going to see not just a smoke-free generation but a smoke-free nation, that's not a realistic prospect any time in the future. And we could tackle both some of the false messages that are going to smokers and the litter and pollution problem from cigarette filters by adopting Amendment 33. Now, I'm just very briefly going to address Amendment 141 and 143 in the name of the Noble Lord Reynard and the Noble Lady Baroness Walmsley, and I look forward to hearing from both of them soon. But I did want to attach my name to this because I think it is an important message of starting at the point where we can do something to hopefully stop people smoking, because we know overwhelmingly people start smoking when they are still children. So this is an amendment that provides the possibility, these two amendments provide the possibility of putting warnings on individual cigarettes, which has been shown to be effective from Canada, because very often when young people start smoking, the first thing that happens is someone gives them one cigarette. And it's not guaranteed that a health warning on that will make a difference, but it's certainly a good step in the right direction. So I look forward to this debate and the Noble Lady Minister's response. I beg to move.